last full week of the month. And today we're using the Moonology Manifestation deck. I have already chosen the cards just while we were sitting here talking about picking fruit. And what what I'm going to do that I always do, and great for my new people, is I show the back side of each of the cards, and I keep them face down so that I'm not looking at what's on the face. And I'll give all of you an opportunity to tune in, use your own intuition, tune into each of the cards to see which one you feel more drawn to, or if it's a combination of both. And you can throw that in the chat. So we have our first card here. So if you feel that this one resonates, if you hear, see, sense, know anything, if you experience any sort of a change just in looking at the card with the intention of tuning in, then you can put a 1. And you can also ask yourself divination questions, meaning you could ask a yes or no, like, will this card resonate? Card number 2. And you're looking for that change. You're looking for an answer that maybe comes through. If you're interested in developing your intuition more, I have a few different ways to do that. One of them being I have a class on Insight Timer once a month, and it is, in fact, this Wednesday. So if you would like to attend my Psychic Games and Development class, this is card number 1. I also started this summer, I launched a mentorship program. So they're in ad hoc sessions just for 2 hours, and we can channel together, chat, meditate, Q&A, whatever we can fit in that time. And then I also have a 4-month where we would meet every single month, talk via email, all that good stuff. So if you have questions about either of those options, feel free to message me in Insight Timer or reach out on socials or my email. This is card number 2. And I'm going to show each of these cards one more time without talking. But feel free to throw in the chat a 1, a 2, or both. You can also share how the information came through, because that can be helpful for other students to see that. All right, so last time, card number 1. And number 2. A tidal wave. It feels like a shift in momentum, turn of the tides. More of something happening with life circumstances, things coming up, rather than signaling a naturally occurring event in nature. It's still not the term that I want, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to communicate here. So the emphasis is on the fact that we know that it's coming. We understand it's necessary. It might be feel a sense of discomfort, or it's not even so much as that we're feeling pain, but that the discomfort of seeing others be disillusioned or unhappy, or the recognition of where we are now. This is coming across like this is weighty enough for people to kind of consider, and there's only so much more that you can say on this point. It's something notable. It's something notable. It is packed with reflection, emotion, processing, how we are relating with and seeing each other truly, thinking about what our values are. No small feat. So it seems like just like that's kind of the gist. Wow. All right. So what we have, and I think this is pretty appropriate based on the messages that came through with this first card, New Moon in Scorpio, go deeper. The obvious here, Scorpio is a water sign. We're talking about a tidal wave. We're talking about reflection, understanding our emotions. That is Scorpio, like trying to investigate, get to the bottom of it, think about how we're processing. Scorpio is also very strategic. So we're considering, how am I operating versus other people operating? What's going on out there? So I think that this definitely connects. So we're going deeper. I'll just also note here, the image on here is a big waterfall. So I don't think any of these cards have a gigantic wave on it, but it's probably the closest that we could get in this deck. So what was I just going to say about the going deeper piece? Yeah, and the discomfort. Yeah, so sometimes when we really go to the root, when we get to the bottom, the depths of our soul and our processing, super Scorpio-esque, we can feel uncomfortable, and Scorpio is not afraid. Scorpio's like, okay, let's see that ugly truth. Let's understand it. And then we can figure out, what to do from here. This is supposed to be a collective reading, but it does in many ways feel collective because there was this element of understanding what's happening around you and what's happening in society and seeing other people reacting to it. So I'm very interested to see how this week unfolds and maybe what comes to light. Scorpio, truth seeker. Let me just check the chat here. Feels like 4-month collective energy to me. Yeah, and speaking of, I also on my YouTube channel, I have a few, in recent time, I've done several collective readings that are many months long. So definitely go back and look for those if you haven't watched them yet or it's been a while. Jeanette, my last born is leaving for university soon. Definitely a shift emotionally. Absolutely. And it would be a great example of it's something that you know is coming. Something that you know is coming and that, depending on how your child is reacting, young adult, then you could have some discomfort because you're worried about what's going to happen if they feel disillusioned, if they feel afraid, if they feel uncertain. And we have to kind of carry and hold and sit with that. This is much more of a confetti streamers party vibe to it. Are we celebrating something? Some people are celebrating something. Milestone, a marker, achievement. And it is coming across like it's with other people or there are people around or that you would want to share this, celebrate this with others. And not just random people that are meaningful or who shared in that and went on that experience with you. I'm getting an emphasis on honoring yourself, really sitting in the recognition. It's like I'm seeing it's like you have a crown on your head and your staff as if like you're royalty, like really leaning into sitting in, allowing the celebration to marinate, to be really present in it rather than rushing it by without significant acknowledgement. Trying to make it fun, and if you feel any sort of discomfort as an example, oh, well, this sounds like it's making me like the center of attention or the star. I'm not really comfortable with that. That's okay. You could be a party of one. But it seems like there's at least something here that you could just tell another person, yay, this exciting thing happened. They know that you've been looking forward to this, that you've wanted to make this change, reach this accomplishment, close this deal, whatever it looks like for you. So even if you're not literally having a party, you can celebrate in your own way in private, but there is a component of at least telling one other person, just expressing and having that put out there to get the additional validation. Because this feels like this is picking up on when you do a gratitude practice, as an example, you're reinforcing for the collective energy, source, spirit guides, universe, etc. Yes, I see the thing that I've accomplished. I see the thing that I have received. I see the opportunities. Thank you. You are having an openness to receive more, to receive that again. Versus if we just dismiss what has come to us, out of effort or fortune, opportunity, luck. If we dismiss it, then okay, we're not we're not threading that together. We're not linking, we're not tying ourselves to future abundance. So that feels like it's when you're truly seated in your power of recognition of either what you put into it or that you just are deserving of receiving it, even if you didn't work for it. It's just something that came to you. You clearly were doing something else. You maybe were not working on that specific thing, but your efforts were going somewhere that were priming you to be able to receive that. And if we dismiss, write it off, say it's a fluke, don't vocalize it to anybody, oh, it's not a big deal, oh, it probably won't even last, we are not priming ourselves to keep that going. Wow, okay. The card that we have is last quarter moon in Aries. Work through your feelings. Now, one, last quarter is about reflection. Aries, fire sign, cardinal fire sign. This is an initiator. So even with what we were just talking about, this is a milestone. It's action oriented, ruled by Mars, same as Scorpio. Action oriented. So something that you did. There's action that you are reflecting on last quarter, action that you're reflecting on because you have the outcome. You have some of the fruits of your labor. And the encouragement is to actually think about how you feel about it. So what we're talking about just now before I flipped over this card is, are you rejecting it? Are you pushing it away? Are you acting, living, being in alignment with not only just moving towards Mars, but being able to receive, sit in it, feel the feels? And when Aries is reflecting, it's saying, okay, well, what can I do next time? What do I do next? What are my next steps? And this gratitude work, abundance mindset, self-expression, acknowledgement, recognition, that is the next step. And you may feel a little bit uncomfortable. So let's work through that, work through the discomfort. Again, so many parallels between the first and second reading, because I was also talking about discomfort too, but work through the discomfort if there is any, because those are steps that are necessary for you to get ready for what would come after this, which is the new moon. And that's where you have a new beginning, next steps, next chapter, next milestone that you're going to set your focus on to achieve. All right, so to recap our readings for the week ahead, reading number 1, short and sweet, we had a big, gigantic tidal wave coming through. This is some sort of larger collective change, turn of events, shift in momentum, changing of the tides that we are aware of, in that we might even know that it's coming. It's something that we expect will happen. And through the process of this experience, we may find ourselves feeling a little bit of discomfort, and that is stemming from seeing other people's reaction to this. So we knew it was coming, but we're watching other people become disillusioned, afraid, uncertain, or feel pain, hurt, really upset about what has happened or this turn of the tides that is occurring. And we have to be able to sit in that discomfort. The card that we had is the new moon in Scorpio, go deeper. So along with seeing, experiencing discomfort, which Scorpio is totally fine with, new moon, this is beginning of a new chapter. There is a before and after for the tidal wave. It is bringing us into a new era. We also are being asked to go deeper into our emotions. So whatever is coming up, however it is that we are feeling about the shifts that are happening, what's going on with other people, we have to sit with that water sign, think about how we're feeling, weigh the emotional processing, the truth, the reality, the good, the bad, the ugly. And we're also thinking about our relationships and our values as well. Then we have reading number 2, and that was the big party. We had streamers, confetti, it was a celebration. We have achieved a milestone, and this may be something that we are aware of, that we've been working on for some period of time, or that is coming across as a surprise to us, as if we've manifested. It's something that has come to us. And the point of note here is just because you received something doesn't mean that you weren't working on it. You could have been working on a different area of your life, and that was creating room. That was preparing the grounds, setting the table for this other opportunity to come in. So you still were doing work. You weren't just floating around in the ether doing nothing. What's really important about this week is that you acknowledge and recognize the milestone. It could be that you actually celebrate with other people or have a party. It could mean that you simply tell one other person who knows this is something that you have been focused on, or that's really important, or would be so happy to hear that this has come into your life. Just share with a single person, and you can also celebrate in private. So you could treat yourself, food, experience, you name it. But it's coming across like there should be some sort of a ceremony, a recognition, something that you don't do every single day, to say, okay, this is a big deal. I'm so happy about this. I'm proud of myself. I'm grateful, because we want to connect to and reinforce the abundance channel so that more can come through. If we dismiss and say, it's not a big deal, I don't deserve it, I'm not worthy, it's not going to last, then we are turning that faucet off real quick. And that's not the encouragement we have this week. Our card for this is last quarter moon in Aries. Work through your feelings. So when it comes to that last portion, if you are feeling, once this opportunity, this milestone, this accomplishment, this marker has occurred, if your reaction to it is anything other than positive, excited, leaning in, there's something for you to work through, something for you to process. Aries is all about action. Last quarter is about reflection. So we are reflecting on this experience, the work that we've put in, whether directly tied or not directly tied to the milestone achieved. And we are preparing for the new moon in Aries, where we are going to work towards the next milestone. And a way that we get there is by staying in the tools and steps that will help us to get there. And in this case, it's abundance, it's gratitude. And we cannot ignore our feelings and just plow forward. We have to sit in them, we have to acknowledge them, we have to hold them up to the light, and then we can move on to whatever that next beginning is for us. Number 1, thematically, between reading number 1 and reading number 2, there's some sort of big event that happens. For the first reading, it was the tidal wave. It's a shift, something in the collective. There's a clear delineation of before versus after. For reading number 2, it's a milestone. There's a before versus an after, but it's something that we've achieved or that we're really happy that's coming into our lives. For the first reading, it's not necessarily that it's a bad thing, but that we are seeing that in the after effects of it, that it's impacting other people, and it may be considered negative, but it's just because they weren't expecting it. They didn't think it would happen. They didn't think it would be true, but you did. So the only discomfort, deep discomfort, is coming from having to watch other people. That's the empathic piece, water sign. But how it's affecting you, like what you think about the change of the tides, whether you think it's good or bad or whatever it is kind of a separate conversation, and depends on whatever this actual event is. But there's a before and after. There's a clear marker for both of these. Other thing to mention about for the cards, one, they are both Mars ruled. So you have Aries, you have Scorpio. Traditional ruler of Scorpio is Mars. Modern ruler is Pluto. So they're both Mars ruled, both about action. Water sign, emotional, intuitive, investigative is Scorpio, truth seeking. Aries, fire sign, it's about action. It's about moving forward. But there are steps that Scorpio is taking because it's Mars ruled. So there's inherently something that you do during this week. And for the first reading, it's, well, really for both of them, you are thinking about what comes up. For both of them, you're thinking about what comes up for you emotionally, what comes up for you that you have to process. But what actually comes up is slightly different. So for the first reading, what was coming up is you're witnessing other people. That's like the empathy piece. That's the intuitive piece, tapping into the collective. Okay, this is what's coming up for other people. Okay, how do I work through that? How do I feel about that? How do I better understand? And then for the second reading, what's coming up is how do I feel when I receive something? How do I feel when I accomplish something? So this is much more internally focused. Aries kind of represents the I versus Libra as the us. So that makes sense as the individual. So this is a thing that's just tied to you versus Scorpio. This first reading was about something happening in the collective, but you're an observer of it. You're trying to understand it, Scorpio. And here, this is something that happened to you, for you, and you're processing it. So we have a difference here. This is why these could both be happening at the same time, because if this is happening, reading number 2 is happening in your personal sphere, and reading number 1 is happening in the collective sphere, they could be two different events that occur this week. They could be related. Maybe it's a milestone that you have, and it happens to be related to whatever this bigger collective shift is. They also could just be happening in tandem. No restrictions on one comes before the other. These were not timed. I did not get any information around what specific day this is going to happen. And I think part of that is it depends on your collective. Maybe the thing that's happening that you're noticing and disillusioning other people, maybe it's in your family. Maybe it's in your neighborhood. Maybe it's in your town or school board. Maybe it's in your state, country, globally. There's a lot of options that you could pick from. And it's because of how it hits. It's how it lands for you. And then this one is just more simply, it's something that happens in your life. It should be much more obvious what the accomplishment is if this is something that comes up for you.